Well, we're right into 2010, Spencer, and the tournaments are coming at us thick and fast. But you know, something is missing. The thrill seems to have gone from the PGA Tour.
No question about it. It's been a very, very difficult start to the year for the PGA Tour, for Tim Finchem. I mean, obviously, there's the whole issue, where is Tiger? Where's the world number one? Very difficult to replace. Nobody knows where he is, when he's going to come back. And the big question in the States, will he be back before the Masters? So that's obviously a huge issue. We thought that last week, Phil Mickelson, the world number 2, making his debut for the season.
There was a lot of hope.
Oh, huge hype and hope. And in fairness, he did reasonably well. He was a bit wayward off the tee, but he did reasonably well. But of course, it was totally overshadowed by the controversies about the grooves and the groove issue and this ridiculous latest episode of John Daly. I mean, so in that sense, it's been a very difficult period for the PGA Tour, for Tim Finchem, and particularly as they look over their shoulders at what's going on the other side of the Atlantic, or perhaps I should say in the Middle East and the desert swing there, where Europe have had some wonderfully strong fields to kick off the year and in many ways have really overshadowed the PGA Tour, which still puts itself out there as, you know, the number one place to play golf, the world's biggest and best circuit. And you'd have to say on the events early part of the season, that could be under threat.
And in fact, most of the winners, with the exception of Geoff Ogilvy, have been
Journeyman kind of guys.
Well, journeyman, you know, you said it, not me, you know.
Well, we'll see. I mean, look, Bill Haas, and it was a great story. You know, he won the tournament that his father, Jay Haas, had won. So in that sense, it was a decent storyline. I mean, Ben Crane, look, I take my hat off to all of these guys. You've got to be a great golfer to win anywhere in the world now.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
Especially on the PGA Tour. So I'm not belittling their achievements, but at the same time, they're hardly the household names that are going to drive up the TV ratings that Finchem needs, that they need for the sponsorship dollars to keep coming in.
That is a very worrying trend. You know, the TV ratings are down. And if it continues this way, it's really going to be affecting the sponsors. It's not that the sponsors don't have their own problems. You know, they are beset with problems of their own. And unless somebody can pull the PGA Tour and the ratings up by the jockstraps, I think, you know, the thrill is going to be permanently gone from the professional golf scene in the US.
It's a difficult period, and I think Finchem's had a few press conferences where, you know, a few things have got him a little bit hot under the collar, and we gather, you know, a lot of the contracts are coming up for renegotiation with sponsors for 2011, 2012, and obviously TV is a huge issue, and that's one of the reasons why the PGA Tour have been able to demand such high fees in the past. You know, come and watch Tiger Woods, the world number one, and we sell this in 120 countries, and we have X number of hours. It's broadcast live and highlights packages, and you know, it can be a very attractive proposition if it's packaged well and if you have the world's best players who people want to watch. It's the fundamental issue again that we're starting to see of the Tiger effect and how much so many people in the golf industry have relied on Tiger for so long. And that's why we are desperately, in America, they're desperately looking for Mickelson to really pick up the banner, or for a couple of these young kids to come through and really stamp their authority, not just as golfers, but as characters, as people who the public can relate to, who sponsors can relate to. And look, we've talked about it. In Asia, that's what we've desperately needed. You know, you need 4 or 5 youngsters, marketable young kids to come along who are going to transform the game, lift it up, get it into the public eye, both on television, print, internet, whatever you want, because that is what will drive sponsorship to the game. That is what will increase the TV coverage.
Now, the guy with the who seems to have the biggest pull effect, Spencer, seems to be our young gentleman from Japan, Ryo Ishikawa. Yes. He seems to be the total package. He's got the looks, he's got the charisma, and he's got the game.
Well, the jury's a little bit out on that. You know, he had an astonishing year in 2009. He won 4 times, the youngest ever winner of the Japan Golf Tour money list, still only 18 years old. he's raised the bar to such an extent, Mike, that I mean, he's got an incredibly tough act to live up to. We're going to be fascinated, and this week he makes his debut of the season in America at the Northern Trust Open, where he made his debut last year. Of course, you see the Japan tour doesn't start till April now, so they've got this huge period. I was in Bangkok a few weeks ago and I saw him in action at the Royal Trophy, and all was not well. I mean, I don't think, he certainly wasn't among the star players that week, and he got soundly beaten in the singles, and he admitted that he still has a huge amount to learn. So I think there's going to be increased focus on him this year, increased expectations, and I think he's got a tough act to follow. I hope he does, because as you rightly said, he's got all the attributes, and as we all know, in Japan, the golf industry is heaping the expectation that maybe they have on Tiger in America for Ishikawa, this teenage kid, to really lift the whole industry up and take it forward. So very important that he continues. Look, he's still in the top 50 in the world, which is a remarkable achievement. So he's going to be playing in, I think, at least 3 of the majors this year. And the real hope is that he will kick on from next year.
Okay, let's get back to the topic, the thrill. Do you see it coming back? Let me put you on the spot on this one. Spencer, on the spot. Give me your call. Are we going to see the PGA Tour pick up again, regardless of whether Tiger Woods comes back? I personally feel that he won't come back this year.
Ooh, I think he will, but we'll debate that one later. No, look, traditionally, they say in America, the golf season starts, the PGA Tour season starts with Augusta National, the US Masters, in early April. We're still, what, the first few days of February as we speak at the moment. So it's very early days. A lot of the players getting warmed up. A lot of the top ranking players, certainly the American ones, traditionally they don't come out and play anyway until maybe into February, March. So maybe we need to give it a little more time. Again, huge hopes on Mickelson now as the #1 guy. You know, can he take over from Tiger both on the course and in lifting it off the course? And I think, you know, the desperate need, as we said, to see these young kids coming through. And I think in Europe, in many ways, they have the advantage, obviously, with guys like McIlroy, who has broken into the world's top 10. You know, he's only 20 years old, and he's continuing to develop. And I know a lot of people who I respect as golf judges of good players really believe he's a future #1. Interestingly, Gary Player was with McIlroy in the Middle East last week at the opening of a new golf course, I think in Abu Dhabi. And Gary Player, I think, played a few holes with him, and he came out and said, look, this guy, he is the next world #1. And it's hard to disagree with that when you see the way that McIlroy conducts himself. And I think America need a few people like that. You know, we've got Danny Lee coming through.
Ricky Fowler?
Ricky Fowler. Look, he is, again, the pin-up boy, the new great hope. But he had a bad start to the season.
Don't know about his orange shoes.
Well, he missed a couple of cuts. He had a good performance last week at Torrey Pines. And no, you're right. I mean, I think what it needs in America to get that buzz going is for someone like Fowler to get onto the Ryder Cup team this year and to qualify. And then, again, it's all about the characters, isn't it? You maybe have the matchup of Fowler against McIlroy, and you build it up from there. So there are some good young talents coming through, but they now need to take the next step, to take it to the next level, and in so doing, they'll raise the whole mood, I think.
Asian Golf TV, all golf, all day.